for you. So I am also working on a series of videos on YouTube for everyone because I get a lot of the same questions. So I'm going to have everything streaming up on YouTube, and you can access that if you have any ideas for videos that you want me to do. I'm happy to do that. So if you can go to our YouTube channel at some point, you can subscribe and get the alerts when we have new videos on YouTube. Just some basic information about, for example, how what is a notice to appear, what is a request for evidence, what is asylum, things like that. So feel free to send in your questions for that, or if you have any areas you want me to talk about, I am happy to do that. So I hope that everyone is doing well and staying safe. I have one question that I'm going to start with. What is a U visa? So we have a couple of U visas that we're working on right now. And this is a visa for victims of violent crime. And for example, I have a lot of cases where the U visa is based on domestic violence. And you have to show that you've been a victim of one of the qualifying crimes. It's not just domestic violence. There's a bunch of other crimes that you can qualify for. For example, we have one case that we're actually doing his green card now based on his U visa, and it's for felonious assault. So he was assaulted when he was delivering food to someone, and so he qualifies based on that charge. And we are able to show someone's eligible for the U visa if we have a law enforcement officer sign a document certifying that they've been a victim of the crime and they have been helpful to the investigation. And it doesn't matter who is the one who harmed you. It can be someone with papers, someone without papers. It's totally irrelevant. But you just have to show that you suffered some substantial injury, whether it's physical or mental, because of the crime that was perpetrated against you. So in the case of the felonious assault, there was a physical injury, and also a mental injury of, he had nightmares and was anxious. So in the domestic violence situations, again, there might not be a physical injury. It might not be physical abuse. It could be psychological abuse, economic abuse, verbal abuse, threats, and that could be enough to file for a U visa. We've done U visa cases based on just restraining orders, even if the abuser was not picked up by police. Just having a restraining order can be enough sometimes to get a U visa. So the U visas take a very long time, but they are a good option if you are eligible for it. So if you think that you might be eligible, you can give us a call and we'll let you know what we think about your case. The next question I have is, who is eligible for TPS? So there are different eligibility requirements based on what country you're from. It's El Salvador, Honduras, Haiti, Nicaragua, Nepal, Sudan. Those are the countries that are eligible for TPS, and it really depends on the country. So for example, if you're from El Salvador, you have to have been here, I think, before March or February 2001 and have continuously been present in the United States to apply for TPS. And the next question I have is, how long will my work permit be good for? So the length of the work permit depends on the type of case that you have. The ones that are through the green card applications are generally good for 1 year. The ones that are through asylum cases are good for 2 years. The first time that you apply for your work permit. It's called an initial request for permission, um, for authorization to work. And then when you renew your application, it's a renewal application, so it's a little bit different. But it's 1 year if it's based on your green card, and it is 2 years if it's based on asylum. The next question I have is, if I am granted TPS and I then am eligible to apply, am I then eligible to apply for a green card at a later date? It depends. So if you have TPS and you are then eligible for a green card through a different type of case, then yeah, you can try and do that. For example, if you have TPS, but then you later marry a US citizen and you're then eligible to do a marriage petition, you could be able to do the green card. The important thing about TPS, though, is that if you enter the United States illegally, with coyote or with just by yourself, you have an illegal entry. So in order to qualify for a green card, you have to have a lawful admission. So different circuits and jurisdictions say different things about how being granted TPS affects your admission. But to be safe, when I have clients who are on TPS, I always have them apply for an advanced parole travel document too, so that I can have them leave and enter the United States. So that is a lawful admission when they come back in with the advanced parole. With that lawful admission, then they're eligible usually to apply for the green card. The next question I have is, can I apply for another immigration benefit along with TPS or after my TPS application has been approved? Absolutely. Um, I have, like I was saying, if you have TPS and then you enter legally, um, you might be eligible to apply for green card. You can have multiple applications pending at the same time. That's not a problem. I have people who have TPS and then do the marriage petition, and that's not a problem. I have people who apply for asylum and a marriage petition at the same time. It's fine to have multiple petitions. The next question I have is, will I ever have to reapply or re-register for TPS? Yes. So when you register for TPS, you have a certain period of time that it's good for, and then a re-registration period is announced close to when the first registration period is going to expire. The next question I have is, if I currently have DACA, can I still renew? What should I do to file for renewal? Thank you. That's a great question. So if you have DACA, yes, you can still renew your DACA based on the court decision. Renewals, new applications are being accepted. New applications for travel documents are being accepted. So when doing a renewal for DACA is a lot easier than doing the DACA application itself. When you first do your first application for DACA, you have to provide proof basically for every year that you've been in the United States, because you have to demonstrate that, one, you entered before you were 16. Two, you've been here since 2007 and had accrued 5 years when DACA was announced in 2012. And you have to prove that you attended school, you graduated from school, or you got your GED. And you have to prove that you're a certain age. So when you first file for your DACA, it's a lot of paperwork and a lot of things that you have to show. But when you go to renew it, you don't have to show that again. It's just you have to have the filing fee, your passport style photos, a copy of your work permit, and proof that you had been granted the DACA before. It's a much more limited amount of stuff that you have to send off to immigration. Next question is, if I recently submitted a DACA renewal, does the July 2020 memorandum affect my DACA grants? I'm not sure about the July 2020 memorandum specifically. Um, so I'll have to look into that. But if you were granted, or if you submitted your DACA renewal at this point, then it's fine because there's that case that I mentioned out of Brooklyn that enjoins the Trump administration from canceling the program and reinstates it. So you would be fine to have a case that you just filed for renewal. It won't be a problem. Um, thank you for your question. Please let me know if you have any more questions. I will be back again tomorrow for Miércoles con Melanie at 4 o'clock, my program in Spanish. So please share that with your Spanish-speaking friends or family members. Subscribe to the YouTube channel because we're going to be putting out a lot of good information on there. And like us on Facebook and Instagram so you can get more updates. We're updating everyone all the time about the latest news in immigration. And oh, I have another question. What does immigration check for green cards? So for that, if you're wondering whether or not you're going to be approved for your green card, you can look at your circumstances. Have you ever been arrested? Do you have any affiliation with any terrorist organizations? Or there's some ridiculous questions on the application, but the main ones are whether you have a criminal history that would make you ineligible, about how you entered the United States, what kind of status you have, and if you um, have any health-related grounds of inadmissibility, like communicable diseases, if you have some addiction issues, if you have certain types of um, affiliations, then that could make you not eligible. If you also are likely to become a public charge, then that means if you're going to be relying on government benefits in the future, that could also make you ineligible. But the main ones I look at in terms of determining if someone's eligible for a green card are how they entered the US, what kind of status they have right now, and their criminal history. The next question I have is, will I be asked all of the civics questions during the naturalization interview? Great question. So the requirements for the naturalization interview changed on December 1st. So it's a little bit harder with the civics questions. You will not be asked all 128 potential civics questions, but you do have to answer 12 of them correctly before they end the civics portion of the exam. So you do have to get 60% correct, but they will not go through all of the questions. All right, thank you for your question. All right, thank you for tuning in. As I mentioned, subscribe to YouTube, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and thank you for tuning in. Bye.